bit of work, yeah, and then that will give you a starting point. It's very, very powerful. You could go and buy it, and I did it first. I went and bought it, and straight away I couldn't believe it, because I know what I'm doing, because I've been doing all these metaphysical practices, self-mastery for years, so I know what I was experiencing, and I know when something is taking away my need to eat. So if you want to become a breatharian, then you create Gans plasma, and then you add it to you create a food Gans, and then what you do then is you take patches of the food Gans, yeah, and then you stick it to your body, and then you will be feeding your fields, your other bodies, just your emotional body. You'll be feeding them as well. This is how it works, and then you will not need to eat, and then you can start to become a breatharian, because the plasma will help you do that. And that's why I was saying earlier, it's not just about us accessing the fields for ourselves, but it's for the plant life. It's for the plant life and the animals. They are relying upon us reaching our supreme fifth elemental state, because we are the custodians. So they are relying on us to reach that fifth elemental state, because when we reach that, we use now organic technology, which advances their being at the same time as well as ours. Yeah, meaning we don't need to eat animals no more. Because you see, once the emotional body is active, you won't want to cause any pain to any other plasma being. But it's accessing the plasma first, so that it can put you on those levels of energy, accessing your organic kit. It's like my battery, my phone. If my phone's only 50% and it hasn't been upgraded, yeah, if it speaks to another phone, if it was able to do that, and it was coming from the human being perspective, it would tell the other phone that's 100% charged and has had all the upgrades, that there is no such thing as other upgrades, because it's already got all the upgrades, and its 50% charge is the maximum that it can go to. And it will say that until the cows come home, kicking and screaming, yeah, until it somehow decides to action it. And then when it gets this other upgrade, it'll go, oh my God, it's true, bloody hell, I didn't realise that was real. After all that time I was fighting it and saying all this and blah, blah, blah. And that is the issue with the human being. So it's not going to be really hard to do that. On the next video, I will just literally just do it. I'll just do the whole process. But really, it's just that. It's that you buy one of these plates, which I'm going to show you how to do it. This is just the beginning, the start off point, so you can start to work with the Gans and feel it for yourself. Yep. If you put one plate here, the copper plate, and the zinc plate there, and just connect them up with the connector and the water. That's distilled water and salts. Nature doesn't make things too complicated for us. It's just a matter of us reaching a level of consciousness to be able to action what has been given to us. Yeah. So elements, the way that the Gans works, the way that plasma works, right, is that elements transform in a Gans state when they have the same isotope, which matches the same atomic weight. That's why we're on about here, you see, with the weights. The weights make a massive. So there's the two fields. Boom, boom, boom. The weights, yeah, your atomic weights, etc., make a massive difference. That's why all of the four together, the they create the 72. Yeah. So the weights matter in terms of isotopes. So for example, once the field strength matches, it will transmute from one to another. So if your body needs zinc, and if your body needs calcium, when you would use the zinc Gans, it will inside of your body, it will turn into a calcium, yeah, and be used that, because calcium also will works with electrical signaling in the brain, whereas the zinc works on your pituitary cortisol, which it acts as a sedative to calm your emotions down. Yeah, that's what the zinc does. So the plasmas will go into your body and do that. So that leads me on to before that leads me on, I just want to show this one little video. So I hate doing my videos, and I realised afterwards it's something I should have showed you. Look at this. Here, what you're going to see is the plasma. The Gans, what it decided to do here was they created a community in the sky. Look, it's like a sky. Watch. And then they'll start falling from that sky down to the rest of the plasma that resides on the bottom, because they're one family, and they're going to show you that. There's one bit falling there. This never normally happens. You've just seen another one falling then. They're falling from the sky. There's another one, falling one at a time. They're fully conscious, see. There's a load falling from the sky, look. It's like clouds, like rain falling from the sky. That's amazing. See, so what they did then, like usually, you would never see that. You would never see that. They're just, there they all are. Yeah. You would never usually see them doing that. You would never normally see that. But they did it on that particular day. Yeah. But they don't usually do it. They don't usually do that. Yeah. So what happened was there is that they decided for whatever reason to create a breakaway. So some of them broke away. And also, you see, they are connected to the Earth's magnetic field, but you can take them. There are ways that you can get them to connect to different fields instead of the Earth's magnetic field. Yeah, they call them ships, etc. There's ways of doing that. That's much more complex stuff, which we can get into looking at at a later stage. So wanted to show that. Because otherwise I would have maybe forgotten it. So again, here you can see there. I think I've shown this one before. This is how the fields work. This is how all fields work. So you see, when the ones that have been fed on the plasma or the ones that have been fed in the water, these ones are going to die much sooner than these ones. So what the plasma does, it gives them what they're lacking and takes away what they don't need. Because the plasma, you see, so whatever negativity you have in your vessel, it will do that for you. Whatever you think in your mind you want the plasma to be, it will be that. That's how it works. That's how we need to unlock our minds. Yeah, and that's why it's very important that we access this plasma state, not just for ourselves, but also for the plant life and the animals at the same time as well. Yeah, that's why that happening is key and vital. So then, that was this one. Just wanted to then show, if you just bear with me a second, this one is another one here. So this is cold plasma. So at the minute I'm going to look into start I found a way of making a cold plasma torch. So if you see here, if you just listen to this,
my research for a long time was space propulsion, using plasmas for electric propulsion to propel a small satellite in space. Since moving to George Washington University, I expanded my program, and so we were working on other plasma applications such as plasma nanotechnology and the relatively new area of what we call plasma medicine, using plasma properties that unique in terms of application for biological species. When we started to work with biologists, we noticed that plasma selectively kills cancer cells without damaging normal cell. Underlying mechanism we still don't know to a large extent. We have several hypotheses. We are interested in what we call cold plasma, where the plasma that is created would have very low, close to room temperature. So there is no thermal damage to the tissue. The plasma essentially is a cocktail. It's a cocktail of many species, including many reactive species, such as reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species. All these species interact with cell or with the tissue, and it causes certain pathways in the cell. There is usually a higher level of reactive oxygen in the cancer cell as opposed to normal cell. by adding the same amount of extra reactive oxygen to cancer cell, we can go over the threshold while we're still under the threshold in the case of a normal cell, and this can be one of the possible mechanisms of selectivity. Low-hanging fruits in this sense would be treating skin cancer, where you can have immediate access to the damage of cancerous tissue. Next level of possible application would be treating what's called surgical margin. When surgeon remove tumor, he typically removed more than just actual cancerous tissue, and because there is some spreading of a cancer cell. What plasma can allow to do is to minimize this surgical margin. After surgery, one would treat the margins with a cold plasma, and assuming that our hypothesis and our evidence is correct, it will be able to eradicate cancerous cells. I think the most optimistic projection will be, I guess, in several years, we would be in position of starting getting approval by Federal Drug Administration for some of these devices.
Right, so Ross, even if you are in nature, plants still suffer Ross. Ross is everywhere in this place. It's everywhere in this place because of the transverse wave effect. So oxygen, remember we were saying, oxygen is the red, hydrogen is the blue. Oxygen is the 9, hydrogen is the 6. But the two of them, the fire and water, until they come together and they are not at loggerheads, you're going to get Ross. You get Ross everywhere. Plants even suffer Ross, reactive oxygen species. That is what it is. So that's why your oxygen you breathe in is doing fantastic things, but at the same time it's oxidizing. Not just that, it's creating species. This is why you mentioned species here. They're not telling you the truth. Species is probably the main issue with everything. But plasma loves species. It eats them. It eats the species. The Ross species. When you eat food, you're going to get Ross. Regardless to what food unless you eat fruits, you are going to get some type of Ross. And that is what you feel within you. If you take this plasma, it will reset your emotional state free. When you eat it again, then you'll recognize it. What am I talking about? Glyphosate. Talking about glyphosate here. Now, if you look at this, if I show you this, right, for example, this is the glyphosate molecule. Glyphosate, remember, is Roundup. So glyphosate, when it goes in there, it mimics your DNA, right? It disrupts everything, yeah, and it changes your genetics. It stops your it stops these your tRNAs, your mRNAs, your rRNAs from functioning correctly and passing the right information from the core of the cell, which we're going to look at right now. Yeah, so the glyphosate molecule, which is toxic, deadly, it's killing all sorts, right? Roundup is looking very similar to your DNA molecule. How's that? It has 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogen. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oxygen. It has a nitrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It has a nitrogen, but look, it has a phosphorus. Yeah. Your DNA helix is in this shape. Yeah. It's in that shape. Excuse me. It's in that spiral shape due to the phosphorus. Phosphorus is a building block of life. Phosphorus is also connected to sulfur. The two of them, they go hand in hand. And the sulfur acts as a detergent in the blood. Another form of Ross is the hydrogen peroxide, in actual fact. Hydrogen peroxide acts like a bacteria in the cell, which cleans it. Yeah, so it's needed. It's needed. The only one that's not needed is the OH, which is the hydroxyl radical, because that hydroxyl radical steals these hydrogens. It steals them out of you. So what actually happens here is, you see, so the glyphosate has 1 phosphorus. That enables it to start mimicking your amino acid chain and your DNA chain, but it mimics it and it alters the genetics in an artificial manner, and that creates a negative cause and effect negative reaction within the body, which in actual fact it makes you angry. It triggers. What it does is it triggers these lower negative emotions. That's why they keep put it in there, because it does that. But what does plasma do? Yeah, what plasma does is this. So glyphosate, angry. Yeah, it mimics the DNA and the amino acid. Spiral shape, your DNA is in a spiral shape because of the phosphorus, right? So what happens is when we add CO2 to this mix here, yeah, the hydrogen or nitrogen gains or loses to bring in the carbon. That then creates the conditions for life. When we break up this chain, we break up what the CO2 does. The CO2 comes in, it breaks up this chain. It creates a H2O, yeah, and it balances it. What you see, what they're saying here is what the helix changes. The helix gets converted, right, because one oxygen, the field conversion force of one oxygen, yeah, it creates the illusion of having the carbon in there, right, yeah, and then what happens is this one phosphorus creates this here, what I'm explaining here, because it removes it removes one oxygen, yeah. What it does, it creates this mimicking process here, and it mimics the carbon, yeah, using this one phosphorus here. But what happens is with the Gans, with the plasma, yeah, because the isotopes within it, yeah, if it when it finds a match, a field match, it can transmute to be whatever it wants to be, whatever it needs to be in order to create balance within your vessel. Whatever it needs to create balance within your vessel is what it will become, as long as it can find a match, a weight match using the isotopes. It's like this. We add potassium to this this sodium hydroxide to do the nano coating, the nano layering, and what that does is it adds to it because it has the same isotope as this. It matches it, yeah, because the isotopes are the same. So because the isotopes are the same, it provides a match, right? So this is what is actually happening in this scenario here, yeah, because you've got there's an amino acid carrier in here, yeah, the amino acid carrier, which is this mRNA, yeah. So what that does, once we break up this chain, we set free this phosphorus. So when somebody's had glyphosate, when you have CO2, what it does, it breaks up this chain because the CO2 jumps in there and balances everything, and it sets free the nitrogen, sets free the hydrogen, and it balances the oxygen. When it does that, it sets free the phosphorus. What phosphorus is doing is constantly reconfirming your DNA. So that's how, so when you use glyphosate here with the plasma reverses the issue and turns it into a positive from a negative. That is how it does it. It turns it from a positive, it sets free this phosphorus here, yeah, breaks up the chain and turns the glyphosate back into a positive effect instead of a negative effect. Now, back to the syncretism and the occult numerology that I work with. Yeah. So the core of the cell is 5. I don't think, in actual fact, when I was explaining this earlier, I don't think I actually finished this. Right. Let me just go back to finishing this bottom bit here. The word Kabbalah includes the Hebrew doctrines of cosmogony and theology, as well as the science of numbers. The former is specified as the dogmatic Kabbalah. Kabbalah was 9 in the occult numerology, and the latter as the literal Kabbalah. Again, I say it's 9. I tell no lies. By means of associating the ancient doctrines of numbers with the letters of the alphabet, the planets, stars, zodiacal signs, and other astronomical terms, a form of divination being practiced by which the professors attempted to foretell the future, life and death, good and evil, fortune, defection, of theft, etc. an ample explanation of which may be studied by the curious in the Holy Guide of John Hayden. So what I'm saying to you here is, you see, you will use gematria, occult numerology, letters and numbers, using the Hebrew alphabet, etc., in order to manifest, to dictate what's future events, and also to dictate and to work out the hidden truths that are the hidden light with is in case within nature. Also able to do occult numerology readings. I did one for my partner. It works really, really well. Her name equates to 144 as well. And I was able to find out a lot of things about her and tell her a lot of stuff about her being, about who she is, about her character and so forth. So if anyone wanted a numerology reading, if you send me your full name, then that's something that I can actually do. So anyway, so the core of the cell is etheric. That is backed up by the numerology. Core is 5, cell is 5, etheric is 5. You see this cell here? It's a powerful word. The double L is 33. The 33 is the Z master number. Yeah, and it's also giving you the C, which is the 3, which is a 3-way communication. So you see here, this is what we have. Now this triple codon here